Welcome back to Closing Time Sports. Today I'm back talking again about All-Stars in the NBA, but this time it's going to be about the Eastern Conference All-Stars. So you can see I did the Western Conference All-Star breakdown probably a day or so ago as you're watching this video, even though I just did it about 10 minutes ago, but it's coming out this video will come out a day after the Western Conference All-Stars. So today I'm going to be talking about the Eastern Conference All-Stars. So to begin, I'm going to start talking about, let's start with Joel Embiid, because Joel Embiid I think is easy. He's definitely I say the MVP of the league right now. I think that's how good he's been playing. They have the best record in the East. I get they're not as good as they were at the beginning of the season. I mean, Ben Simmons kind of been in and out lately, but Joel Embiid has definitely, to me, been the MVP so far. I mean, when you look at his numbers, they're good enough to, I think, warrant MVP value. And Joel Embiid averaging 29.7 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 3 assists. So basically 30, 11, and 3 for Joel Embiid, and probably a couple blocks. It doesn't say that right there. But, I mean, this is definitely, as I see, there's an article, it says the best of Joel Embiid thus far that we've ever seen, I think. I mean, we haven't seen a better version of Joel Embiid than this. And I think he definitely should be the starting center, especially in the Eastern Conference, that when you think of centers, I mean, when you look at the standings and you see Philadelphia, of course, Joel Embiid, then you have Brooklyn, DeAndre Jordan's not getting voted for that. Milwaukee doesn't have a center that you're voting for. Miles Turner on Indiana is interesting. I think he might be an all-star this year, or Sabonis, you could possibly say, but none of them. Sorry for the weird, I don't know if you can hear that, but there's noises in the background. You have Miles Turner, who I think is interesting, as a bonus. They're definitely interesting guys that you might be able to vote for. But to be an all-star starter, I think Joel Embiid beats all of them. Boston doesn't really have a center that you'd vote for. Toronto really doesn't. New York doesn't. I mean, Julius Randle's a fun story. He's not even a center, though. So Mitchell Robinson, no. You know, I mean, as you go down the list, there's not really a center down the list. I mean, Clint Capella's been good this year, but I don't think anybody compared to Joel Embiid is all I'm trying to say. So Joel Embiid, yes, I agree. Giannis, this is an interesting one, because Giannis and the Bucks have been struggling lately. I still think Giannis I think he's a little down from his MVP years, back-to-back years, these last 2 years, but I still think he deserves to be an all-star starter. When you look at the East, you have, Ben Simmons. I don't think you can give this all-star starter spot yet. I just don't think he's been amazing yet. I mean, he's been good. He's definitely been up there in defense for defensive player of the year. I think he's right there. Don't think he's an all-star starter. When you go to Brooklyn, I mean, KD and Kyrie are on this list. Harden's not a forward, so I mean, can't give anybody on that team the award. I mean, Chris Middleton, you're going to put Giannis over Middleton. When you go down Indiana, you don't really have a starter that is a forward that you would put in here. Boston is the one where I'm going to talk about a little later. I think Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, those two guys, I think one of them should be in here. And I'm going to talk about it later. In this spot, I wouldn't put it over Giannis, but I think in a different spot you might. And I'll just talk about it now, because I think you have KD and Giannis for your two forwards, right? Jaylen Brown can kind of be both, a guard or a forward, and Jason Tatum is more a forward. Jason Tatum this year is not an all-star starter. I would not put him in over Giannis or KD. However, I think Jaylen Brown has been so good this year, I would almost put him over Giannis right now. And I know that's weird to say, and I know that's not anything that people probably have said, but I would put Jaylen Brown over Giannis right now. When you look at Jaylen Brown, he has led the Celtics this year. I get they were 14-14. They're not exactly playing amazing right now. Still, he's averaging 26, 5.5, and 4, which that's not Giannis numbers, and I get it's a lower seed. But when you talk about carrying a team, Jason Tatum has not been great this year. Jaylen Brown has. He's taken a big step. And I know you might say, well, that's the most improved player award. And yes, I think that's a valid point. And so just in my opinion, I would love to see Jaylen Brown as an all-star starter. I think he deserves to be right there, and he will be an all-star. So I know that's a hot take, and I know nobody's going to agree with me. And as I'm talking about it more, I don't even totally agree with myself anymore. I think Jaylen Brown has been super good this year, is all I'm trying to say. So Giannis might still get that award for being an all-star starter, but Jaylen Brown, I think, is right up there. And when you go down the list, you will get Toronto. Toronto doesn't have anybody that's an all-star forward, at least. Pascal Siakam, no. No. He just hasn't been all that this year. New York, you have Julius Randle, like I said earlier. No. Julius Randle's a fun story. He might make the all-star team. He's not a starter. Come on. He's not. Be real. And then as you get on the list, there's nobody really. John Collins has been good, but not an all-star level player. Miami doesn't really have anybody. Jimmy Butler has not been as good this year as we've seen in the past. And then, yeah, I mean, that's kind of where it guys off for me. So I think Giannis, I think Jaylen Brown could put some. I think Jaylen Brown's a good candidate possibly, but I think Giannis is there. I mean, Kevin Durant's the captain. I agree. Kevin Durant's bounced back in an incredible way. I agree totally with that. Bradley Beal. I mean, you can't deny Bradley Beal has been incredible this year, just with points and everything, averaging over 30. Yeah, his team's bad. I mean, his team is just, it's not good, but he's led them to 9 wins, which is pretty impressive because their team is bad. Like, they're really bad. Russell Westbrook coming over has not done much. I didn't even mean to say Westbrook, but I kind of said Westbrook. But yeah, he just hasn't been great. Bradley Beal, I think, deserves to be an all-star starter. I get it's a popularity thing again. Honestly, if I'm really thinking about it, I probably would take Fred VanVleet over Bradley Beal right now, just because of where they are. And you could even say Jaylen Brown as a guard. Malcolm Brogdon's up there. You can kind of go either way. I think Bradley Beal is going to get voted in just because he's been insane this year. He's been balling. If he's on any other team, basically, other than the Wizards, I think his team's a top 2 seed in the East, and they are incredible, and he's in the MVP race, honestly, if he's on a different team. So Bradley Beal, I understand it. Fred VanVleet, I think, has been really good this year too, so he's another honorable mention. But Bradley Beal, I think, deserves it. And now the one I disagree with the most here is Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, in no way, shape, or form should be an all-star starter. There is no way he should be. I mean, I'm just gonna say that right now. Let me look up his stats. And I know it's not all about stats, but I just want to show y'all. Like, Kyrie this year, 28 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. That's good. That's very good. Like, there's no if, ands, or buts about it. It's very good stat line. How many games has he played though? Can anybody tell me that? Like, just right now, how many games have the Nets played? So let's look at that first. The Nets are right now, they're 19-12. They've played 31 games. So I get they're really good. 31 games. Kyrie Irving this year. I'm looking at Basketball Reference. So they played 31 games this year. Kyrie Irving has played 21 games. So he's missed 10 games in 31 games. So he's missed 10 games already. Missed 10 games. And now let's look at somebody on the same team that I think deserves it more. And let's see what he's done. Okay, and that guy, let's look at James Harden for a second. Okay, what did I say Kyrie Irving got? Like 28, 5 and 5, right? I think it was 28, 5 and 5. Harden, 24, 7, 11 for Harden. Okay, 24, 7 and 11. And this comes in Houston when he wasn't even trying anymore, and he's still averaging 11 assists, 7 rebounds, and 24 points. And the reason 24 points is low is, one, because in Houston the last couple games he was getting 15 points a game, and then now in Brooklyn he doesn't have to score as much. Let's look at James Harden, how many games he's played. Okay, so it's not as big of a difference as I thought, but James Harden has played 25 of 31. Okay, so 25, he's missed 6 games, and part of that is due to having to get traded over to Houston, or from Houston to Brooklyn. He missed a couple games there. I think he's taken a game. I don't know if he's even taken a game off in Brooklyn so far, but he took a couple games off in Houston beginning of the season. That's why. I mean, honestly, that's why he's not played all 31. James Harden has definitely played more and will play more this year than Kyrie, I guarantee you. Kyrie, to me, is a very good player, and his stats are very good when he does play, but even the four more games that Harden has played makes a big difference. And I think Harden's stat line is better, and Harden is leading them to more wins. You just saw, as I recorded this last night, when Brooklyn beat the Lakers, it was Harden that did that. Okay, I just have to say Harden was the one who led them to a win. It was not Kyrie. Kyrie was playing, Harden was the leader, and Harden is the point guard, and Harden should take this point guard spot away from Kyrie Irving. I'm just saying. Fred VanVleet, again, I think has been right up there, but I think if you're going Brooklyn as a point guard, you gotta go with Harden in this spot. Kyrie should not be an all-star starter. He should be an all-star, but not an all-star starter. So that's what I have to say about that. But these are the all-stars, so I'm gonna go through them again. On the East side, Kyrie, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Giannis, and Joel Embiid. No big complaint, but I would take Kyrie Irving out. And then I already did the West, but Luka, Steph Curry, LeBron, Jokic, and Kawhi Leonard. So those are the all-star starters. I'll do another video about the all-star bench players that whenever those are released, I will definitely talk about those. But that's my reaction, and thank you all so much for watching. Follow the links down below, and I'll see you guys next time.